think a really big thing in this whole process is just being kind and showing yourself grace as you go through it. If you don't get it 100% perfect or right, and keep moving forward and keep showing up and doing your best. Because I personally think what's worse than like not doing your reverse diet perfect, or maybe having a couple days where you're like, oh, I kind of feel like I want to eat more. I think I'm going to eat a little bit more, and then feeling guilty and shameful about that. I think that is worse, the emotions behind it, holding on to that guilt and shame, rather than just being like, I'm a little bit more hungry today. I'm going to eat a little bit more, and that's going to be okay. Good morning, friends. Welcome back to episode 16. It's so crazy. It's so crazy that here we are in this process. I remember all the way back in the first episode being like, do I want to share this? Do I just want to like go through the cut myself and, get it under my belt? But I am so glad I have shared this journey with you guys, because I've learned so much in the process, and I definitely was ready to put it out there and not only go through the cut myself, but be able to kind of take you along for the journey and teach and share and show you like what is this actually like to go through. So I hope that you found a lot of value in this series so far, and I have a few updates for you guys in this final episode of this series. I also want to kind of chat at the end of the episode and see like, what do you guys want to see next? So let's dive in. So I did not share in last week's episode because I found out actually a little too late. I had already recorded everything and was done with the editing, so I just put the video out there. But if you saw over on Facebook or Instagram, if you follow me there, we actually ended up having to reschedule the photo shoot, which in the moment I was sad about. It was actually a whole like mix of emotions about it, but it actually works out for the better. We had to reschedule due to personal reasons, and we have a new date now. So the new date is going to be June 11th, which puts us about 12 days out from today. And I say it works out for the better because I had just gotten my haircut like last week, 2 weeks ago, and honestly, it's still a little bit too short than what I like. So in 12 days, I feel like it's going to be the length that I love. I'll also be not on my period / past my period, so won't have to worry about like any bloating or any of that kind of disrupting my best physique. I mean, I know like obviously you're supposed to get your period, it's not a bad thing, but for purposes of having a photo shoot, it's nicer if you don't have your period during that process, so that you can actually feel like you're showcasing your actual best physique. It's hard to articulate that, but hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. In addition to those reasons, I also did a practice mock peak week last week, which you guys saw me go through, and it was a little bit of like bumpy roads because I had not really ever navigated that before, specifically for a photo shoot or for getting on stage. So mentally, I was like a little back and forth with what's the plan I want to put in place? Is this a good plan? Do I feel like I'm handling this okay? Do I need to go back and reassess the plan? So it was a lot of kind of like back and forth, second guessing, and like learning how to navigate that. And so having practiced that last week, now next week, I will be able to learn from that and run a much smoother mock peak week. So that is another positive of this process getting pushed back a little bit more. 12 days left. Where I'm currently at is I'm feeling a little beat up, to be honest. Like, I'm feeling beat up from my training. I'm feeling like kind of stressed and fatigued just from I think this is my 6th week of doing low days. I've taken the refeed days on the weekend, but I have not had a diet break in a while. And I was actually contemplating this morning, looking at my plan, like, do I want to throw in another diet break this week, go back to my low days next week, and then have the photo shoot over the weekend? But I'm just thinking, you know what, if I do a full week of a diet break, it's gonna bump up my weight too much and I'll be holding on to too much water and things like that. I don't think I would drop back down in time to get to where I want to be. I could drop in a few more high days throughout this week and through next week just to kind of alleviate some of the feelings I've been having lately, which is kind of contributing to the stress. Is I feel like I have not been sleeping super great due to recovery and not eating as much. I feel like I could use a little bit more recovery. What I want to do is just take a deload this week from my training. I'll still get my cardio in as normal, still, hit my step goal, but I'm gonna just drop some of the stressors I'm placing on myself from my training. And that should help my body to feel a little bit more fresh, a little bit more recovered, and contribute to a better look next week or next weekend. I've been noticing, like I said, I haven't taken a diet break in probably 6 weeks. I have been feeling a little bit lack of control around food. It's not bad, but I am noticing it. And I think it's because in my mind for so long now, I've been telling myself I'm going to go through this, 16, 17 week cut and then start increasing the calories and going into a reverse diet. And so when I had to make this pivot and there was a little bit of adversity, like, oh, this isn't the plan anymore, and I need to actually extend my low weeks for a few more weeks, that's been a little bit challenging. I've, come to terms with it and I am embracing it because honestly, like 2 episodes ago, I think, I was telling you guys, like, I'm a little sad. This is my last full week of low days. So here we are. I don't have to be sad because I get to enjoy a whole another week of this. So it was a little bit challenging at first because I was sort of mentally ready to start eating a little bit more. But I know, we're in the home stretch. It's supposed to be challenging towards the end of this process. Like if I were getting on stage, this is probably how I would be feeling. But again, we can eat leading up into the show or into the photo shoot to feel better, to look better, to reduce stress, to fill out and look fuller. That said, this will be the last full week of weigh-ins, and then next week I will be going through the greater portion of the week with low days. Towards the later half of the week, I will start increasing those carbs. It'll be another mock peak week, another opportunity to practice, and I'm excited for that. As far as the not feeling 100% in control around food, I know I just need to embrace some of that hunger that's becoming a little bit more apparent in the rest of this week. It helps having been through so many diets before that I'm aware of the signs that you're needing to go into a diet break or you're needing to start a reverse diet. And knowing and I start my reverse technically going into late next week, how much I'll need to bump my calories up based on how I'm feeling and the pace that I need to go about that process. And I think a really big thing in this whole process is just being kind and showing yourself grace as you go through it. If you don't get it 100% perfect or right, and keep moving forward and keep showing up and doing your best. Because I personally think what's worse than not doing your reverse diet perfect, or maybe having a couple days where you're like, oh, I kind of feel like I want to eat more. I think I'm gonna eat a little bit more, and then feeling guilty and shameful about that. I think that is worse, the emotions behind it, holding on to that guilt and shame, rather than just being like, I'm a little bit more hungry today. I'm gonna eat a little bit more, and that's gonna be okay. I know I'm in the home stretch here. I know this next week, my hunger will probably challenge me a little bit more, but pulling back on my training a little bit, just focusing on recovering and high days obviously over the weekend for my refeeds, and then I'll have another peak week end of next week. That's definitely going to get me through, and then it will be time to reverse diet after that. So I'll share more with you guys on kind of what does the next chapter look like for me in this next clip. My goodness, it is warm out there. Oh my gosh, I am sweating. I just got back from a little walk. I didn't stay out there too long because it was hot. Whether you're local here in Michigan or you're in the States, it is warming up this time of year as we approach summer. I'm very grateful for it, but I'm wearing like a cute outfit today because I am, here, let me show you actually. I'm not training today, it's a rest day for me, and I'm working from home. Hey. So I was like, let me get a little dolled up, which was fun. I always appreciate those days where I love wearing gym clothes, but it's nice to just like wear like real people clothes and get a little bit made up. So I told you I'd be back at the end of the week. Today is Thursday. I'm ready to share kind of what my next chapter looks like with you guys. My kind of plan of attack is to just instill a little bit more life balance back into my life while still staying accountable and maintaining a lifestyle which will help me to fulfill my long-term goals. So obviously in this bodybuilding series, I've chatted about potentially doing a figure show in 2024. That was the purpose of doing a bodybuilding program. That was the purpose of doing this cut, was to kind of see where I'm at, how I would handle that process, and what is my physique looking like when it's a little bit leaner, to determine, you know, what do I need to work on in this next build phase to put me in a good position for potentially a 2024 show. Let's start with training because that's kind of like the next logical step. And I can't remember if I mentioned it in the last episode regarding a little bit more nitty-gritty details, but I'm building it out in a way where it will help me to, you know, showcase my best physique as a figure competitor come 2024, but also build a solid foundation of strength so that if I wanted to do a powerlifting competition sometime in 2024 or beyond, I still have that skill set and that arsenal. So 3 to 4 times per week, the goal is to just build overall symmetrically my entire body. I don't really feel like I have exact weak areas. I would say if I did, it's probably going to be just more detail and definition in my legs. Let me show you. I feel like I have a pretty well-defined vastus lateralis. That is this outer muscle here. Hopefully you can see it okay on screen. But my medialis, which is going to be right more towards the middle, medial middle, the medialis and the rectus femoris, which is going to be right in the middle here, as well as the sartorius, which is actually, you have to be pretty lean to see that. But these more detailed, defined muscles, you know, I'm sitting at low 140s and you can't really see too much detail yet. So obviously I need to get leaner to see those muscles. I also need to grow them more because as a powerlifter, they weren't, oh my gosh, I'm so hot and sweaty still. They were not like, you're not focused on growing those isolated muscles as much, so they're not as prominent. Whereas doing something like sumo deadlifts or back squats, your lateralis, that outer muscle in the quads, really gonna grow, which is why mine is so defined, because that is a lot of what my background has been. So overall, just grow symmetrically. I'm still gonna put an emphasis on my delt work because I haven't done a ton of delts in the past as a powerlifter. I have been noticing growth, so we're gonna keep pouring into that area. My calf definition, let me show you again. It has been getting better, but we definitely wanna just keep up the volume and intensity on that. I think in addition to more leg detail, and the anteriors, the front of the leg. I also want more detail in the back of the leg. When you are in a prep for a bodybuilding show, especially as a female, most of the time anyway, for females, that's gonna be like, you have to be pretty lean for that to come out to play. You can a little bit see my hamstrings and like glute tie-in area at this body weight, but I know with more volume and then getting leaner, my next cut, that will help those to come out to play. The last area is my back, which is sweaty right now and you can't even see because I'm wearing a shirt, but my back is muscular, but it's powerlifter muscular. Like, it's not, my back has really never been that lean enough to be able to see the more isolated, I think that's the right word, muscle groups. So you can see my traps okay. You can kind of tell I have lats, and you can see like spinal erectors, those bigger muscle groups. But as far as the rotator cuff muscles, which, oh, I'm sorry, this is kind of gross, the sweat, but the muscles kind of like beneath the delt are your rotator cuff muscles. I've never really been able to see those that well on me, even at the leanest I've ever been, so like high 130s. So continuing hammering out just more rear delt row, any kind of rowing movement, vertical pulling, horizontal pulling, to keep growing my back. And then obviously things like deadlifts are going to help. Romanian deadlifts all will help with trap development and just posterior chain in general. So it's going to be your lower back, your spinal erectors, your lats, all of those good things, all of those big muscle groups that I already have, but just want to keep working them to grow. My goal in this next phase is to not put on more than 10 pounds if I can help it. Obviously, I want to train at a weight that I feel comfortable at. So really, that's the priority. I want to train at a weight where I am sleeping well, I am recovering well, I feel like I'm making progress week to week in the gym, my numbers are going up, and just I have more energy in everyday life. I'm hoping around like the 148 mark is where I land. That would be lovely because I'm thinking about that long-term goal in mind. So next time I go to cut to potentially get on a stage, I would like to have no more than like 20 pounds to cut to make that happen. We're just gonna, take it 1 week at a time and see how it goes, but I'm definitely going to be eyeballing the scale as well as looking in the mirror and getting that sort of feedback to make sure I'm trending at the rate I desire, which would ideally be 0 to half pound weight gain per week. That's gonna keep me in a good range where I'm not gaining too quickly, because if you gain too quickly, you're going to put on more body fat than you actually desire in that weight gain process. But if you go slow, then it's more likely that the mass that you're actually putting on is going to be lean muscle mass, which is the goal. We want to be putting on muscle and as minimal as body fat as possible. You are going to gain body fat in the process. It's just, that's how it happens, and that's okay. But we can pace it at a rate where we kind of optimize that, the way in which you gain. So you kind of heard like, how am I going to approach my training, my nutrition, sort of my lifestyle within all of that? Because I really do believe that the lower you can keep the stress in the process, the better the look and the feel is going to be as a result from the journey. And of course, if you enjoy the plan or your lifestyle, you're actually going to want to do it and stick to it and adhere to it. So just those like subtle factors, making some changes in cardio, making some changes to my training plan for the week, that's going to put me in a really good place. And by pulling back on some of those things and creating a little bit more space in my life, I will be able to pour into other things that I've had to kind of step back from. I didn't have to, I chose to. That's a better word for it. Things like being able to see my family a little bit more often and go out and just have, meals with them that I enjoy. I didn't really give any of that up this time because I made sure that when I did see them, probably every single time except once, it was a refeed day, and so I had the freedom to really eat what I wanted. But just not having to, have any pressure around that in this next season or phase, this next 6 months. If freeing up more space, I'll have more time for social events with friends. Not that I felt restricted or like I don't have any resentment from this last chapter that I didn't get to do like social event type of things. I did the things that I wanted to do, but in this next chapter, I do foresee a little bit more freedom to have more social engagements. With pulling back some things related to this bodybuilding cut and this series, I am creating more space in my life to pour into my business, which feels really, really good. I have been pouring into my business these last 5 months now, but the gears are going to kind of shift in these next 6 months. So as I've been sharing with you guys here all about my fitness journey, I'm opening space back up in my availability for one-on-one fitness clients. So I have no, it's not new. This is my old one-on-one fitness program, but revamped. It used to be called Transform. I wasn't feeling that anymore. The new one is called Flourish, and it's essentially the same service, but I wanted to rebrand it, give it a new look and feel based on where I am in my life personally, and provide that opportunity for those of you who have been following along in this series, maybe following my journey over on Facebook or Instagram as well, and now you found me here to work with me in this capacity. So this is one-on-one coaching in a 3 or a 6 month option where you will have a movement and nutrition program from me, custom to you and your goals, your lifestyle, your equipment availability, your time availability, all of those things we take into consideration, injury history. You also get weekly accountability check-ins with me. You get to fill out a form. I respond every week via a video response to make sure that things are progressing along at the rate we desire. You will also get bi-weekly coaching calls from me. So this will be an hour opportunity every other week to sit down and chat, make sure you're feeling good about what you're doing, you're loving it, you're getting the results you want, you feel the way that you want in the process, etc. And as needed support from me. So during our time together, whenever you have questions, you can always reach out to me to get the feedback you need to set you on the right trajectory. So if you're interested in that, I've included a link in the description box where you can learn a little bit more and see if it's a right fit for you. If so, you can book a call with me and we can explore if we are a good fit to work together. Because of course, I always want to make sure that it's comfortable for you and it feels good for me. Good chemistry there so that it's a win-win situation working together. From there, if it is a good fit, we'll decide 3 or 6 months and we'll get you signed up. We'll get you on your way to greater strength, greater conditioning, and greater wellness. Those are my areas of specialty. So I look forward to working with those of you that decide to sign up. There's a few more things I could chat about and how I am approaching this next chapter, but I thought that might be a good idea for a separate video. I've been thinking about like the lessons I've learned throughout this series, throughout this cut, in these last 5 months of my life, and therefore how I'm going to navigate the next 6-7 months differently because of that. So if that's of interest to you, let me know in the comments below. I also had another idea for a video that I thought would be really fun. This morning, like I said, I got all dolled up. I'm working on my business at home today, and I've been working on a brief for my coaching program. So what is a brief? It's an outline that includes all of your coaching offers. And within that, you want to make sure that there's clarity of exactly what they are. There's consistency between what you help people with, and then the communication or the messaging between them all is also cohesive. So I was laying that out this morning and I thought, that could be a really fun opportunity for another video. For those of you who want to start an online coaching practice, or maybe you already have, and you just feel like you could use a little bit of direction around setting up your coaching programs and making sure that they feel good to you and that they are in congruency with your soul. Like they are a direct expression of your essence. I feel like I have accomplished this. I know I have accomplished this, and I would love to be able to offer you some insight and help you in that process as well. So if that's a video that you're interested in, let me know as well below, and I can work on that for you guys. Some last little updates about the cut. I have been going through my low days this whole week and I've been feeling fine, so that is positive. I do feel hungry. My body does feel more beat up than normal. I feel like I'm not recovering as well. I feel like I'm not sleeping as well. So even though I say I'm fine, these things are occurring, but it's fine because, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I know those refeed days are coming this weekend, and then next week I get to do my peak again, so I know more high days are coming. And also because I should be feeling like this at the end of this process. I should be feeling a little bit more beat up, and that's kind of how you know it's working at this point, to get that last bit of fat loss off and to find that new edge, if you will. So it is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and I am embracing it rather than getting bitter or frustrated by it or trying to change it and get comfortable by eating more. But besides that, just embracing this part of the journey and remembering the goal in mind to hit around that high 130 mark at the end of this process. So I will have a weigh-in before my refeed on Saturday, and then it's a full week of weigh-ins next week. You will definitely be updated on where I land for that. And then lastly, if you are interested in working with me in a fitness capacity, but maybe one-on-one coaching doesn't feel like your thing, I am taking on clients for my program Solidity. This next cohort will be starting September 24th, so we still have a few months out from that. But if it's something that sounds up your alley, there's a link in the description box to learn more, and you can claim your spot now so that you know you have a space inside of that. That will be a group coaching program around movement and mindfulness for 8 women. It will be a small, intimate space, but it will be a powerful space for accountability, celebration, play, connection with self and with your community. So I'm so excited for the women that will be joining me for Flourish, for Solidity, and I'm excited for this next chapter to kind of shift focus a little bit more on my business, on a little bit more life balance, still get those boxes ticked with my fitness and health goals because I love doing them and I know they are going to fill me, but just having a little bit more space for life. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. As always, if you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up so that more people can discover these videos and get the support that they desire in their fitness journey and in their lifestyle. And then if you're not already, please hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell on to be notified of future episodes. This is officially the last episode in this series of Crafting a Vibrant Vessel. But I will have another series coming for you guys. It will not be as frequent as this one, but I'm thinking every other week. That is what I'm committing to. And that series will be called Building Steady Strength. So I'm very excited for that, and I will look forward to tuning in to our next series with you guys in a couple weeks. Take care and see you soon. Bye.